I agree. She's got experience, but it's bad experience.
Well, Donald, I know you live in your own reality.
I said she doesn't have the stamina.
But this is a man who has called women pigs, slobs, and dogs.
On the debate stage, the stakes are higher. Up for grabs, a fertile middle ground of undecided voters. Hyperbole, a permanent fixture of this election, is riskier.
Saying more crazy things.
With statements checked for fact in real time. For the average American, there's much to consider. The economy.
Because politicians like Secretary Clinton won't allow them to bring the money back because the taxes are so onerous.
Foreign policy.
If terrorists ever get their hands on any nuclear material.
And secrecy.
Her 33,000 emails that have been deleted.
As it must be something really important, even terrible, that he's trying to hide.
And afterwards, the spin.
And Hillary Clinton failed because she can't bring it home. I mean, she just can't bring it home.
How each campaign claims victory by relating the candidate's performance to the expectations set upon them. But in the final analysis, how much do the debates impact the outcome? U.S. presidential elections have many metaphors. The horse race.
Ma'am, stop pushing this.
The media circus.
Thanks a lot.
And the prize fight, the debates. They're an opportunity to look presidential.
And what is important is making sure that we disagree without being disagreeable.
They offer a chance to change weakness into strength.
I will not make age an issue of this campaign. I am not going to exploit, for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience.
The first televised debate in 1960 is thought to have changed the game for TV-friendly John F. Kennedy against the grisly Richard M. Nixon. But in the age where TV and social media offer round-the-clock coverage of the campaign and the candidates, do the debates really hold that much consequence for the outcome of U.S. presidential elections? Randolph Nogle, The Newsmakers.
Well, joining me now here in the studio is Christina Asquith, director of Across Women's Lives for Public Radio International and a supporter of Hillary Clinton. And from Spokane in Washington State is Matthew Hurtt, a Republican Party official who was also a delegate at the convention. Thanks, both of you, for joining us. Christina, let me start with you. So it was much awaited, blockbuster event, 100 million strong audience. That's what they estimate. Was it worth the hype, and did we learn anything from it?
It was unbelievably an exciting moment in television. I woke up at 3:30 a.m. to watch it. I was on Facebook with 9,000, 10,000 member groups. People were saying they couldn't eat, they couldn't drink, they were on the side of their seats the whole time. And, you know, I do think it delivered. Actually, I was quite anticipating it was going to be a very staid and boring event just because it had been hyped. But, you know, I think Donald Trump really delivered as he always does in terms of just speaking off the cuff and saying surprising things, saying weird things, things that we didn't understand. And Hillary Clinton came across as polished, prepared, slow to get going, but then the debate really picked up towards the middle, and the end, I think, was really, you know, ended in her favor.
Okay, so Matthew Hurtt, Christina Asquith thinks it ended in Hillary Clinton's in her favor, and she was polished and prepared. What do you think?
I certainly think it was Hillary's debate to lose. All of the press going into the debate was sort of negative for Ms. Clinton. And she did. She came out of the gate swinging. She had an exemplary debate performance, I personally think. I thought that Donald Trump started the debate measured. Thought we were going to see a toned down Donald Trump, but toward the middle and into the end, certainly he became his excitable self, which I think resonates with a lot of the American public, folks in states like Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Ohio, states that are going to make a difference this November.
Okay, he questioned her stamina, and she had a fascinating response to that. Let's take a little listen.
To be president of this country, you need tremendous stamina.
The quote was, I just don't think she has a presidential look.
Wait a minute, unless you asked me a question. Did you ask me a question? You have to be able to negotiate our trade deals. You have to be able to negotiate, that's right, with Japan, with Saudi Arabia. I mean, can you imagine we're defending Saudi Arabia, and with all of the money they have, we're defending them and they're not paying? All you have to do is speak to them. Wait, you have so many different things you have to be able to do, and I don't believe that Hillary has the stamina.
Let's let her respond.
As soon as he travels to 112 countries and negotiates a peace deal, a ceasefire, a release of dissidents, an opening of new opportunities in nations around the world, or even spends 11 hours testifying in front of a congressional committee, he can talk to me about stamina.
Okay, Matthew, so I know you're not with her, but would you agree that with that response, she perhaps put him in his place?
She was prepared, and it showed. In the last 2 weeks, Hillary has taken 5 to 7 days off the campaign trail, which is an indication, I think, to an extent of what Donald Trump said is the stamina. However, her response was showed that she was tested and ready, and that on her campaign side, she anticipated an attack like that.
Christina, she was obviously expecting that. How do you think she responded to that?
Actually, I'm surprised at Matt's comments because I thought she came out of the gate really slow, and I thought he did really terrific in the beginning. I mean, I would not say he was measured in the beginning. He interrupted her something like 25 times in 25 minutes, and I thought he really knocked her off her game. She was defending herself by sending the audience to her website to look at her policies, calling for fact checkers to check him as though they were going to drop out in parachutes out of the sky and help her. You know, and I was, again, following her on Facebook and listening, watching people saying, look, she's not doing great, this is not good. But, you know, in classic Donald Trump style, I think he tired. And I think that his defense wears on people after a little while. And so he started to come across as bullying, and she just kind of laid back and waited and then pounced towards the middle and just really nailed him with what she always does, is her mastery of the facts.
Okay, let's take a listen to another little clip. This was her alleged flip-flopping on the issue of free trade agreements. This is a fascinating clip. Let's have a look.
Your husband signed NAFTA, which was one of the worst things that ever happened to the manufacturing industry.
That is your opinion.
You go to New England, you go to Ohio, Pennsylvania, you go anywhere you want, Secretary Clinton, and you will see devastation where manufacturing is down 30, 40, sometimes 50%. NAFTA is the worst trade deal maybe ever signed anywhere, but certainly ever signed in this country. And now you want to approve Trans-Pacific Partnership. You were totally in favor of it. Then you heard what I was saying, how bad it is, and you said, I can't win that debate. But you know that if you did win, you would approve that, and that will be almost as bad as NAFTA. Nothing will ever top NAFTA.
That is just not accurate. I was against it once it was finally negotiated and the terms were laid out. I wrote about that in...
You called it the gold standard.
Well, I hope...
You called it the gold standard of trade deals. You said it's the finest deal you've ever seen.
No.
And then you heard what I said about it, and all of a sudden you were against it.
Christina, he was on his game with that one because factually that was probably his strongest moment. He called her out, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he did, you know, and I'm not necessarily a supporter of Hillary as I'm a journalist, and I felt that that was where he really gained ground. You know, whenever she's such a policy wonk, and also she has a long track record to defend where he doesn't. So wherever he goes at her on something that she would like to spend a lot of time being nuanced about, you know, he ends up looking like he's clear and straightforward and honest, and she looks like she's waffling. So yeah, he had her there for sure, and I think she does have a lot to answer for in terms of defending jobs in America.
Yeah, that's an interesting one because Matthew, both on the sort of on the right and on maybe on the far left, he would have gained some followers with that, wouldn't he? When you talk of free trade, where you have Clinton sort of dithering and flip-flopping and Trump being absolutely clear and saying, hey, you said that and now you're saying this. Was that his strongest moment?
You know, I think we have, as Franklin Roosevelt sort of nodded to in the 1930s and 40s, we have a voter bloc called the Forgotten Man. They are traditionally white working class, Democrat, blue-collar types in Appalachia and Pennsylvania, in parts of Ohio, North Carolina, through this part of the country, or that part of the country. And he certainly spoke to that. He certainly has attracted those kinds of disaffected voters who are traditionally Democrat in counties that went for Barack Obama by 2 or 3 points and that have traditionally given the nod to the Democrat candidate. He is gaining ground among those kinds of voters, absolutely.
Christina, as we look ahead to October 9th in St. Louis, there was a lot of trepidation amongst the Clinton campaign, amongst her supporters, that here's a man who knows how to do television, knows how to do reality television. He can play a crowd, he can play an audience, he can play this like an instrument. And you have Clinton, who at times is sometimes a bit distant and a bit too wonkish. After last night, do you think those fears would be strengthened or go away?
I thought that's where the brilliance of her attack came in. She really dismantled the narrative that he's built around himself. He's a self-made billionaire. He's a strong man who will defend the country. She went right after him on those points. And he walked right into it. I couldn't believe the things that came out of his mouth. He admitted that he was proud that he doesn't pay federal income tax. He admitted that he benefited from the housing crisis in 2008, and that made him smart. I mean, how is that going to message across the country?
Yeah, let's listen to that. She asked him about his taxes. Here's what he had to say. Let's have a little listen.
Maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes, because the only years that anybody's ever seen were a couple of years when he had to turn them over to state authorities when he was trying to get a casino license, and they showed he didn't pay any federal income tax. So if he's paid zero, that means zero for troops, zero for vets, zero for schools or health. And I think probably he's not all that enthusiastic about having the rest of our country see what the real reasons are, because it must be something really important, even terrible, that he's trying to hide.
So, Matthew, you didn't pay taxes. That makes me smart. You talk about the forgotten man. How's the forgotten man gonna respond to that when he hears a multi-millionaire, or a billionaire rather, as he claims, say, hey, I didn't pay my taxes and I'm proud of it. I robbed from the American people and I'm proud of it. The forgotten man's not going to respond well to that, is he?
You know, I think what we have and what Mr. Trump sort of signified and what I think to an extent Hillary Clinton would like to discuss is we have a tax code that is established for two different types of people in this country, just like we have a justice system that is established for two different types of people in this country. Eliminate loopholes, bring down the tax code across the board. When people like Warren Buffett pay less in taxes, it's because they use the tax code to their advantage, because they have the money to go and lobby on behalf of their wealth. And so what we see is a system that is unfair to workers and is fair to people who have the money and the resources to go lobby on their own behalf in Washington.
Do you really think, Christina, that's what he was sort of referring to?
I mean, I wonder also if that's going to make a difference. I think Hillary Clinton has her campaign commercial laid out for her with that one quote that he gave her. But we also know, as he pointed out, that the Fraternal Order of Police, taxpayer-funded organization, supported Donald Trump. So are people going to care about this? At the end of the day, I actually think they will. He's got a lot of momentum up until this debate. I think we're going to see that stop now. And I think she's going to wake up feeling really great when she sees the headlines this morning in America. I think they're all going to come out in her favor. There's 2 more debates to go, so she doesn't want to blow it out and trounce him on this one debate. She's got to build it up and finish steady in the second and third debate right before the elections.
Okay, Matthew Hurtt and Christina Asquith, thank you both of you for joining us.